The dummy record feature is something that's pretty new to the phone community. It's something we haven't had until just a couple of months ago, and we spent the past year testing punishes and situations by playing online, which isn't really that great. With this new feature, test situations is quite easy once you know what to do, and this video's aim is to help you out with that. To start off, I'm going to run down what the options are in the command input menu and what they do. Some of you may already know what these do, but for the new players coming in and for those who have little experience with something like this is for them. So the first option you have is the recording start setting, and there are two options here. There's command input and automatic. When you start recording, there's a 1 second grace period before it actually records your inputs, which is there to keep it from recording anything unwanted. When the setting is set to command input, the dummy won't record anything until after the 1 second grace period, until you actually put in a command, either it be a jab or a grab or just moving left and right. Automatic is just that. Once the grace period's over, it'll begin recording, no matter if you put in an input or not. Both have their own uses that I'll go over on later in the video, but right now we're just going to move on to the next thing, which is the opponent settings. And what the opponent settings are these are the actions that your character, the character you've chosen to play as, will take during the recordings. Personally, I feel that the ones that are the most important to use with this setting is block and normal attack. High stance and low stance have their uses for certain characters, such as Machamp's low stance, or Mewtwo's low stance, or Zard's high stance, or Garchomp's high stance, something like that. But they're very situational. The rest, like jump or counterattack or grab, are mostly meant to recreate comp situations and Oki situations for the character in question, the one that you're practicing against. I'm going to take a moment to skip ahead to the replay settings. And there are two methods of replay. There's continuous and random. Random is pretty obvious. There's no explanation needed there. It is what it says. It'll play all of the slots that you have available that you've recorded on at random. There's no need to go into that in depth. Continuous, the name's a little bit misleading in my opinion. I feel it should be named consecutive, because it plays all of the slots that you have back to back. So go from slot 1 to slot 2 to slot 3 to whatever slots you have recorded. There are 5 slots to choose from. You can use any of them, 1 through 5, up to you. Each of them can hold 30 seconds of recording. Hopefully you don't have to record that long. I mean, mostly you should probably be recording about 3 to 4 seconds, maybe a little bit more depending on the character. But you shouldn't really go to the full time. It's not really often that happens. This is a full combo. I'm going to give a couple examples, mess around with the recording feature a little, to give you an example of how you can get this to work out for you and get a better sense of how to lab things. I picked Darkrai in particular because of Nightmare mode. Now, I feel that some people may have had the inclination to do something like this, where they record Nightmare mode, the entire animation, and they also record a move or something that he does afterwards as their one slot. And to me, that's not efficient. It's not efficient at all to test out against Darkrai. So what I would do normally is I will have Dark Void on one recording. That's it. And you may be thinking, well, how do you test out against the moves he only gets in Nightmare mode? And the beauty of the 1 second grace period that's in the recording is that you can get Dark Void to land without ever having to have any inputs recorded on the dummy. So if you were to do drill from now, only that gets recorded. Just that, 2 slots, very efficient, very clean. If it'll be on the same slot, on the same recording, there'd be a lot of mixing up with the dummy, and it would always do Dark Void before doing Drill, and that can get really annoying at times if you're trying to consistently test on what to do against it. At the same time, use the test out punishes against Drill. So I'm gonna turn the command, I'm gonna turn the dummy on, and you're gonna see what it can do. So it's gonna start off with Dark Void. So now that that's done, I'm gonna turn Dark Void off. That way it'll never come up ever again. And something that I didn't mention earlier is the replay interval. And what this is that after it takes its action, it plays one of the slots, it will wait either 1 second, 3 seconds, or 5 seconds before it moves on to the next slot. For me, I've only really gotten good usage out of it for when I'm testing moves that hit me, or recording that I have set that's not that long, it's only like a second long. So I don't want the dummy to keep mashing buttons, to keep doing things. I want to take a moment, take a break, sit there for a second, and wait. So I'm gonna set that to 3 seconds now against Darkrai's Drill, and you're gonna see how it is against that. So it's waiting now. It's just gonna do Drill, and it's gonna wait. Do Drill again, and that's how you can use it to your advantage. Another thing about the dummy is that you use it to test punishes, and we use the same thing we just used now, Drill, again as our example. We'll get the recording to do Drill, and I'm gonna do one of the follow-ups that he has afterwards. So that's the teleport follow-up. For slot 3, I will do the JA follow-up. And then for slot 4, I will do his JX follow-up. So I'm gonna turn all of these off, so we can only get Dark Void and get into Nightmare. And set the replay method to random, so there's no way of knowing what they're gonna do next. He'll just push a button. He'll do Drill, and then when he comes up afterwards, I won't know until it happens. Let's turn these back on. The 3 second interval will still stay. And then now we turn on the dummy. So 5Y will work to punish the teleport mix up. It'll punish the J-Egg follow-up. And I can kind of just keep doing this until I get a hit like that. The JX follow-up will hit. And that's kind of something you could do to get a sense of what you can do in situations like that, and what your options are against moves that you may be having trouble with. The same can go for testing out your opponent setups against you. So let's say I'm gonna turn these off and go to slot 2. Let's say Darkrai outside of Nightmare gets a knockdown and he gets his shards up and he does that. What can you do on Wake Up to get around that? So as it breaks in, if I see it, I can just light screen it and get a punish. But if you're another character, you have to think something else, something like CA, maybe just fully block it. If you have a support up, you could probably call your support and show what that's like. It really depends on what your character is and what you can do, and that's what the replay feature is good at. So now I'm going to talk about automatic, which I did mention earlier in the video, and how it's good for certain things in training mode and how to teach you certain things. And in my opinion, it's mainly meant for support calls. So some support calls are actually punishable, on call, and some can be avoided on reaction. So currently Darkrai has a Molga up, and since it's set to automatic, what this is good for is setting up random timings. So you'll wait a couple seconds and then you'll call a Molga, and then did not mean to do that, and the next time you'll just do it immediately. And in the third slot, you'll do it, and it'll take much longer than the one you had before, or maybe it'll take not as long. To help you out with this, it's good to turn the gauges off, because if you can see the timers on the recording, it doesn't help you when you're trying to react to a support option or support call. So if you have the gauges off, you can't see when the timer is going to show up, and when the support's called, you just have to react to it. I'm not doing it very well, but you get the point across. I'm terrible. Yeah, I am terrible. Don't worry about this. But you kind of get what I'm saying, though. So another thing that you can do with the recording feature is timing your meaties for your Oki situations. And to do this was a little bit trickier because the reaction setting for block isn't that great, because the CPU holds it a little bit longer than it should and it won't act immediately afterwards. And it's not really the best for timing situations and timing Oki that you might want to take full advantage of. So the way you would do this with the train dummy is you'll set one slot to guard. I mentioned this in an earlier video as well. Set one slot to guard just for a quick moment, and you set slot 2 to the next option you want them to do afterwards. So either it be grab or jab or CA or whatever. And this is really important, set the reaction settings to the dummy record, to the command input. This is something that most people may not know, but this is actually extremely helpful for getting the CPU to do something after you've hit them or after you've knocked them down. So if I were to get knocked down and I time my meaty correctly, they will block the entire time they're required to, just like that. Oh, wait. Another thing, having this on continuous is also very important for timing your meaties. That's what continuous is really meant for timing your meaties. So slot 1 is going to be block, slot 2 is going to be grab. So we're going to cycle through right now to make sure that it's on where it should be. So his next action will be to block. Sorry. When you do your meaty, they will block the entire time they're supposed to and then do their action right afterwards, just like that. There is a small thing to be aware of, however, and that is if there is a block string that you have where you're plus at some point, so Lucario 6, so if you watch my last video, I showed an example of Lucario 6 charged X in the first palm, and with Breakson she has charged JX into 2Y light screen, and if the CPU has to block all of that, at some point they'll try to take the action in the other slot during that block string and it will never come out. So what you do is you set 2 slots to be on. They could be the same action or they could be the different actions. The main thing that's important is to make sure that the third slot you have is the one that you want to have come out from the CPU. The second slot's just a throwaway, if I may. So the third slot would be something like Fireball for Darkrai. I guess it's not really a thing that he'll do in that situation normally, but it's something that he has. So if it's still set to reaction, didn't mean to do that. Still set to reaction. So I get it knocked down, and then get the full block string. He'll do Fireball afterwards, because that was a thing in the third slot. That's what he had queued up after the action that he tried to take during the block string, and that's helpful for when you're trying to test out your pressure against most characters. It's something that doesn't really come up that often. It's only for a certain select number of characters like Breaks and Lucario, but it's something that you should be aware of if you play either of those two characters. At this point, I feel like I'm kind of rambling, so I'm going to leave you guys to mess with training mode yourself, mess with the Dummy Recorder feature, get all you can out of it, and hopefully you guys have learned something from this, and hopefully this will be more enlightening, and this will help you guys learn more about matchups and the game and your characters and the people you have to fight against, because there's this misconception for new players that training mode is only meant to find new setups and new combos, and you have to find something in order to make training mode useful. And that's not true, especially now in Pokemon DX where you have Dummy Record feature. What training mode is mainly used for is it is a tool for you to learn how your character works and how they work in certain situations, and how you can deal with certain situations against certain characters. And now just Dummy Record feature, if you learn anything from this, like you can go into training mode now, you can test some things out, you can learn what you can do and what you can't do in certain situations, and you can just learn how to play matches better. Like your bad matches will get better for you, your good matches will get better for you. You can just do everything you need to do to learn about every character in the game. So thank you for watching this video, and I appreciate it if you could share this around to whoever you know that might need help learning things about the game and learning how to take advantage of training mode. That'd be very appreciative. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.